Hello and welcome to the CyberChef, an essential cybersecurity tools course. CyberChef is a powerful tool for simplifying cybersecurity tasks. In this course, you will learn how to use CyberChef for tasks like extracting emails, analyzing logs, and working with data formats. We will also cover advanced topics like QR code, Wi-Fi setups, and email analysis. By the end of the course, you will know how to use CyberChef effectively in your cybersecurity workflow. So let's begin. Kali Linux is a powerful operating system specifically created for cybersecurity experts, ethical hackers, and penetration testers. It is based on Debian Linux and is packed with hundreds of tools designed to test, analyze, and secure computer systems and networks. These tools include Metasploit for testing vulnerabilities, Nmat for scanning networks, Wireshark for analyzing network traffic, and many more. Kali Linux makes these tools accessible and ready to use without requiring any extra installation or configuration. One of the greatest strengths of Kali Linux is its flexibility. It can run on almost any hardware, included on laptops, new desktops, and even Raspberry Pi devices. For added security and convenience, you can run it on a USB stick or set it up in a virtual machine. This allows you to isolate your work from your primary operating system, keeping your main system safe from any potential risks. The developers of Kali, Offensive Security, also keep the system updated regularly, ensuring that it always includes the latest tools and improvements. Whether you're scanning for vulnerabilities, conducting forensic investigations, or just learning about cybersecurity, Kali Linux provides everything you need in a single user-friendly package.
It's a tool. It's a web tool that you can use for free, and you can use it to work with data. So data comes in many different ways. It can be simple text data. It can be in all kinds of formats. And when you want to change data easily, you can use CyberChef. It's a handy data tool. You can use it right from the web browser, whether you use Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or any other browser. You can access it directly. It's an open source application. It's a web app. And there are many places where you can run it directly online. You can think of it as a Swiss Army knife, but for data. So a place where you can find many little tools. You'll see many tools here on the left. And you can use that for your data to do specific jobs. Now, these specific jobs can be saved as a recipe, so you can repeat, or you can use it again later on. So all these tools can be used in combination, which is called a recipe. For example, you might convert something to Morse code, and then maybe you want to do something else, like, I don't know, add line numbers. And this is then called a recipe that you can save and load and run on your data. So it can be you might use CyberChef for simple tasks like changing text formats or doing different encodings, but also for more complex stuff. So the whole CyberChef works with recipes, and the recipes is just a series of operations. So for example, if you think of it like making a sandwich, you would put 3 steps here, perhaps more, like pick type of bread, add some fillings, and put a top to the slice. So the same way, that would be the recipe for a sandwich that you can then drag and drop from left to right. There's also a little search here in case that you want to search for it. You can pick as many steps as you want, of course, and you click bake, and it will show the output given some input. So what can you use CyberChef for? Well, basic things like changing text format, encoding, decoding, data cleanup, or maybe even some encryption-based things. Now, it's quite useful because it is running directly on the web, so you can do it in one tap. And whenever you need to do a small data operation, you can use CyberChef for it because it's right there in your browser. So it's just a friendly tool that makes working with data easy. You don't have to know all kind of computer commands. You can just drag and drop and do any kind of commands or any kind of operations on your data without learning hundreds of commands. Just load it in your browser, pick the tools, create your recipe, and CyberChef will handle everything. So if you're learning about data or working in cybersecurity, curious on how things work, CyberChef just makes everything a lot easier. CyberChef is a tool you can use online. If you go to the CyberChef website on github.com, you simply search for CyberChef. You'll be greeted with this webpage. Now, you can either run CyberChef locally on your computer, so using these Docker commands, or you can use the link here to get a live demo. This is the most easy way, is just to run it online. So if you click, you'll see it will automatically open CyberChef. Now you can also find other people who are running it online, so you can search for CyberChef in any search engine. You'll find different URLs where you can run CyberChef directly, and you see many different instances of CyberChef running. Oh, not this one, sorry. But you can find different ones online, so different instances of CyberChef. And or just use the one in the link. It's the most easy one to run, and then you'll be shown this kind of interface. Now, if you want to, you can run it in the command line using Docker, but that requires you to have some experience with Docker, or to have Docker installed in your computer. Now, Docker in itself would be a course in itself, but if you have Docker running and you want to run it locally, you can run these commands, or simply run this command in the terminal. But otherwise, you can use this link to run CyberChef, and you'll be seeing this kind of interface. CyberChef has 4 main parts. Let's dive into each one. First is the operation area on the left. In this area, you'll find many tools CyberChef can use to transform data or process your data. So some examples are about Morse code. You can convert any message to Morse code or from Morse code. You can do things like URL encoding. You can convert to different computer formats like base64 or hexadecimal. You'll see here to base64 from base64, hexadecimal from hexadecimal to hexadecimal. So all kind of computer operations you can do here, but you might also find things for basic text operations like to lowercase. You'll see to lowercase, uppercase, swap casing, and so on. They are organized by categories, so you can open and close them. You can do encryption, related things, arithmetic things. You can do things with language, networking, datetime, and all these categories here have different tools or operations inside them. Next, you have the recipe area, which is in the middle. This is where you tools in here you can choose which tools or operations you want to use and in what order. So, for example, you can put some operations in there. Let's say to uppercase. Any input text will be converted to uppercase. So we have an input part in CyberChef on the top and an output at the bottom. Now in the input part, you can put any text. You can type it, paste it, or upload it. You can open your input as a folder, as a file, and you can also type it. So let's say we have some text, and immediately you'll see in the output area, the operation is executed. So it does this recipe. Now, there's only one step in there now, but we can convert it. It can be multiple steps. So let's say after this, we want to convert it to Morse. So we drag and drop the Morse code, and the message is now first converted to uppercase, the input message. It's converted to uppercase, then to Morse code, and you'll see the output here. Now you may want to save the output. You'll see there's a little save to output file here. So if you click on that, you can select what you want to save it as. You can copy the output directly to the clipboard, so copy paste. If you want, you can also put it in full screen. And you can do this with any kind of operations. So now we convert it to uppercase and Morse code, but it can be any operations you want, any data related things. So let's say we don't change it, maybe something with language. And we can, for example, convert uppercase and lowercase. So if this is our input, you see it does this recipe and it converts the lowercase to uppercase and uppercase to lowercase because we have the swap case in our recipe. You can do all kind of operations. You can reverse it, any kind of things. Maybe you want to count some letter, maybe the letter E. You see it appears only once in the text, or the letter O appears twice. And so you can do all kind of operations with data using CyberChef with these 4 areas. So there's the operation area, all the operations. There's the recipe area where you put your recipe. You can save it or load it as well. You can share them with other people. You have the input area where you can either write text directly. You can open the file as an input. You can open it from your computer. And you can also clear it here with this little bin. If you don't like it, you can clear it after using it. And with output area, at the bottom you'll see the output of all the operations, where you can save it to a file, you can copy it, and you can also maximize the window if you want to. So that's CyberChef in short. Now, sometimes it might not automatically do the operations. For example, you might write something here, but it might not automatically execute it. So at the bottom, there's the bake button with the auto bake. So if that is disabled, you can type anything here, but it's not changing the output. So if auto bake is not selected, you have to click bake manually or select the auto bake, and then it will work completely automatically. So something to keep in mind: if you don't select the auto bake button at the bottom, it won't automatically run the recipe. One of the things you can do with CyberChef is to extract email addresses from some input. So let's say we have some input, some text. Can be any text, but let's say we have this text that obviously contains email addresses. Now, you could manually do this, but if you have very large files, then it will just take forever to find all the email addresses. So what you can do with CyberChef is extract things. One of the things you can extract is email addresses. So you'll see we have the tab extractors here, which lets you extract things from text. So if I click extractors, you see we can extract all kinds of things from text. We could extract, for example, domain names, website names. Let's see if I do that. It extracts domain names from the text, but what we want here is email addresses. So we take the extract email addresses and then drag and drop it into the recipe field. And then it extracted all the email addresses from this text directly into this list. Now, if you want, you can then save this output. You'll see this little save output to file option. Or you can copy it to your clipboard if you want to. Let's say we have an incident report. So we have a lot of text here from an incident report. And then we want to extract data from this. Let's say what is interesting in an incident report could be IP addresses, network addresses, and website addresses or URLs. So there might be one or more URLs in this text, like this one. So how can we extract them automatically? So we go again in CyberChef and we search for extractors. And we drag and drop extract IP addresses. And you'll see we have a list of the IP addresses, network addresses for computers. Now, another thing we are interested in are the URLs, the websites. So we go to extract URLs, and you'll see a list of URLs. Now what happens if we try both of them together? You'll see we don't get any output at all, because first it gets the, let me remove this. First it extracts the URLs, and then from the URLs there's no IP addresses. So you cannot do both of them at the same time. You have to do either one of them. And if you, for example, then try extract IP addresses in this one, you'll see there's no output. Another thing that you might want to be interested or keep aware of is, like, if we extract IP addresses, you'll see there's some duplicates here. Like, this is the same address. So there's an option here, unique, to get only the unique IP addresses or the unique data from that set. If we do it with the other one, extract URLs, the same thing applies. So there might be duplicates. If we click unique, we get the unique ones, and you might also want to sort the data. You'll see they are unique, but they are very, very similar, so the same domain. And that's because we extract URLs and not domains. If you just want domains, so just the website names without all the paths like /download, /login, /installer, or whatever, we can do extract domains. And then you'll only have the domain names, but keep in mind to select unique, so that you only have the unique addresses. You might want to sort them as well. So that's how you can extract some data from a text. You can just click on extract and then find what you want to extract. Now, it can be anything. For example, maybe you want to have dates. So in this case, it doesn't grab any of the dates. See a date here, but extracting date doesn't have the same or the right format. But yeah, this is how you can extract things from a text. Of course, whatever is here should also be in the data itself, otherwise it cannot be found. So for example, if I try extract files, you'll see it doesn't have any files in this text. In computing, there are many different formats. You may be familiar with the binary format, where something is 1 or 0, like a light switch. So using that format, the entire computer works. And that means that different characters you see in the computer, like A, B, C, will be represented using such codes. So this is actually A, B, and C, and each of them has a different binary code. Now we can easily convert this. So I'll select from binary, and you'll see these are A, B, C. Now, computers can use many different formats, many different data formats. The binary code, 1 and 0, is only one of them. You'll see they have different formats, the hexadecimal format here, which will look slightly different. So if instead of ABC, instead of binary, this is the binary format. If instead of that we use the hexadecimal format, you'll see we get codes like these, look completely different. That's because instead of counting from 0 to 1, with hexadecimal it counts from 0 to 15. So many different, it will look completely different. You'll see here, it looks completely different. And there are many other formats as well. So you'll see decimal that we humans often use is 1 to 10. So when you count 1 to 10, ABC will have these codes in the computer. And there are several others as well. So the main thing to get from this video is that computers have many different formats, and we just took a quick look at them. You might know that computers turn everything into ones and zeros, or zeros and one, highs and lows, called the binary format. So if we have some data like a character, we can convert that character into the binary format. So we select here from data format, we can select to binary, and you'll see we get the binary representation of that character. Now we can do that with any character. You'll see different characters have different formats. You can also write them one by one, and you'll see they have different binary codes for every character. Now, if you have some binary codes, we can also do the reverse. So if we have these binary codes, by default it outputs the same, but we'll take then, instead of to binary, we select from binary, drag and drop, and you'll see it turned binary into text. Now, besides binary, in computers, many other formats are used, like hexadecimal. Now, if we remove this, let's say we type something, we can convert to different formats, like hexadecimal. It's another format like binary, but different. And you'll see it has this kind of output. And if you scroll down, you'll see different bases. So in default with counting, we use the base 10 system. We count from 1 to 10. But there are other formats in computing, like base 32, where actually we count up to 32 characters, base 45, base 58, base 64, even base 92. So the advantage of that is that you would need less characters to write large numbers or large sequences. So let's say we select base 64. So base 64 is often used in computing. You'll see you have this kind of text. Now with that text, we can also convert it vice versa. So base 64, we convert it back to human readable text. So all kind of different formats exist in computing or encodings. And given some data, you can convert from one format of the data to another format using this tool. For example, let's say we have this text, we can convert to binary, and then, but this is a recipe, so it doesn't just do one. Let's say we do from binary to, and you see it's converted to binary, and then back from binary, so back to human readable text. And yeah, those are different data formats that you can use. You see if you scroll down, there's lots of different formats, like you can use Braille format for the blind. And you'll see this is what it looks like in blind. You might be curious to try it with your own name to see what does your name look like in Braille. And it can also convert Braille into human readable text. So if someday, I don't know, you receive some Braille, you can convert it back to human readable text. And this format doesn't know about lowercase and uppercase, it seems. But many different kind of formats you can convert to the format and from the format using this data format section. Websites always have a log file. So imagine you have a website. There are people interacting with that website, and every action is recorded on that website, typically in a log file. So a file like access.log. Let's open such a file and see if there's anything suspicious going on. So we open a file as input here, and I select access.log, and you'll see this is the file. So you'll see every action by a user. So someone opened index.php here. On the second line, you'll see someone opens /login. The third line, someone opens /profile, settings, and so on. So that part looks normal. You'll see get and post requests. So get is when someone gets data from the website, and post is when someone sends data to the website, like a password or login information. That's why you'll see here post login, they're sending data to the website, like their password, username. And so you'll see different things. That's how people interact with the website. One thing you'll notice here, though, is you'll see these strange codes. So these codes, this is actually encoded. And we can decode these kind of text strings and see what this actually is. So let's say we copy this, and we'll try to find out what this encoding is. So you'll see different data formats here. So you can simply try like maybe this one, and you'll see just gibberish. So let's try this one, base 64, and you'll see, okay, this was some token. Let's open the web. You log again. So the first one was some token, settings PHP, someone again, some code here. So let's check what that might be. And you'll see actually in the output below, we can actually see the highlighted text. So for example, if we select the first one, you'll see this looks like some gibberish. And if we take the second one, you actually see evildomain.com, so that's not good. If we select the next one, see this token doesn't make any sense, but let's remove all the surrounding text. And you'll see there's also evildomain.com. So there is something suspicious going on with this log. And using this decoding, you might be able to find more information about what's going on with a website. You'll probably get lots and lots of emails, of which some are suspicious, some might be phishing mails. So let's open one of those emails and take a look. So I open one of the emails. You'll see this is a random email, which from this user, no reply, where something about payments. So this email has a link in here, and this email could look legit. That's what they try to do with these kind of scam emails. You'll see it has a little code in there, and we can actually find out what this code means. So if we just select this code, you'll see this looks like some kind of encoding. And in computing, most of the times they use base 64 encoding. So let's keep that code and see what's actually in there. So we go to data format, select from base 64. See it right there, from base 64, and see what is actually in there. You'll see this is a fake verification URL. So it's another way to find out that it's a fake website, because they usually have some code in there, besides the domain name not being legitimate. You can see that this code actually was also completely fake. And so you can actually analyze further this kind of emails. With CyberChef, you can create many cool things. For example, let's say you have your Wi-Fi password and you want to share it as a QR code. You could simply type your password in the input, then search for QR, generate QR code, and you'll see we created a QR code for our Wi-Fi password. Now, you can select here some options. So which image format do you want? Do you want it as PDF or other formats? You can change the size. Might want it a bit larger so that people can scan your Wi-Fi password. And you'll see you have some other options. Now, if you have this, you can simply save the image. So right-click Save Image, and it will download the QR code. You click right-click Save Image. It is now saved to your computer. So if you ever wanted to share your Wi-Fi password or anything else as a QR code, you can do it like this. So it doesn't have to be Wi-Fi password, of course. It can be anything. And then you can it can automatically save it. Now, if you have a QR code, you can either scan it with your cell phone, or you can do it with this CyberChef. So let's say as input, we select the file in the downloads directory. So the QR code, then we select parse QR code, and you'll see we have our Wi-Fi passwords again. But you would typically do this step, of course, with your cell phone and not with the computer. But it's good to know that with CyberChef, you can generate QR codes, can go to QR codes and from QR codes. Let's open another suspicious email. So we go into the open file as input and we select an email. You'll see this is from a supposed bank, mybank-secure.com, and they want us to do some action. And the action that they want us to do is to click this email address. So this is a phishing mail, so it's not an official bank website, but just to mislead you. And so what you can do here, we are interested in this email address. We can extract it from the email. So we're going to extract the URL. That captures the URL. And we are not interested in the domain itself, but rather in what is being sent in all these parameters. So we're going to filter that out, search for regular expression. And in here, we'll paste a regular expression, which looks like this. And this will allow you to filter out the parts that we are interested in. So to do that, in output format, select list capture groups. And make sure to, and you'll see it captured the data after or all of this data. Data is, you'll see this is simply still in English, is part of the URL, and we're interested in what is this data being sent here. So that's the second step we did, a regular expression with this parameter to extract it, data is, and this simply means capture everything after that data is parameter, and we select list capture groups. Then this still looks encoded. You'll see it even says encoded here. So we can decode this if we search for, if we go to data format, data formats, different encodings. And on the web, most likely they use base 64. Almost always they use base 64. So we're going to drag and drop that. And you'll see they have some suspicious text here. The decoding here didn't went completely correct. So let's pause this step. It might be that this is actually in JSON format. So let's see. JSON, maybe parse JSON or from JSON. No, there's nothing like that. But if we decode it from base 64, you'll see it captures some text in here. So some suspicious text. Could be a link, it could be a program or anything else. So if a link looks suspicious, you can further analyze it with CyberChef, and sometimes that requires a recipe that gets more complicated. It's not always one step, sometimes there's multiple actions you need to do to extract the data that you're interested in. On the internet, you can find many more recipes, so you don't have to write everything yourself. If you search for CyberChef on the internet, you can find recipes that you can either paste directly in the input box, or you might open it and paste it here. So if you search for CyberChef recipes, you can find many websites with recipes on the internet for CyberChef. For example, the top one I found here has many recipes. So they start with some basic encoding things like base 64, hexadecimal, that they're simply, those ones simply exist here, like to base 64. But if we scroll further down, you'll find many more recipes, from character code things to specific computer things. So for big numbers, extracting GPS coordinates with Google URLs, about hacking specifically, about web shells that allow access into the computer. You can find many things in here that you might be interested in. So there's many recipes on the internet that you can play around with if you're interested.